Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Random Crafty Acts. Welcome back to Random Crafty Acts. My name is Barb. This is the second of the month, and that it is one of my favorite days because this is the day that Call Me Crafty Owl's Sheetload of cards. It came out yesterday on the 1st, and on the 2nd, we get her process video. She does a debut video on the first day of the month and a process video showing us how to cut things. The best thing about Sheetload for me is that we get a very clear image of what the card can look like. Okay, we get all the instructions, the details of how much paper we need, what kinds of things we might want to do with it. And then the second page is a cutting guide that shows how to cut the paper. Her videos are incredible. And the other thing that happens on the 2nd is that her design team and her creative team all do a video, and it's in a playlist, and you can get a variety of ideas on how to create the cards. So mine is just I am not directly affiliated with her. I just really admire her, and so I thought I've made one practice set where I found out something that I think I'll pass along to you just to let you know something you might want to take into consideration. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is show you that I'm, again, continuing to go through my stash of paper, and these are 2 pieces of 12 by 12, which I don't really like the other side of. The other side of this beautiful set of flowers are these lovely splotchy things. It looks like watercolor ink blended and the whole bit. And if I was doing a scrapbooking page, this would probably be helpful, but when you start cutting this down into your 4s, I don't know that it would work quite as well for me. This comes close to matching here. This is that just off. It's kind of between a brown and a yellow and a little orange, and I have a hard time finding paper that color. But this looks pretty well with this. I decided that what I wanted to use for the matting, which is here around the triangles that will end up on the front, that I wanted to use green because I want these to be really bright. And for my embellishments, I'm going to do thank yous. And mostly I'm doing thank yous because I'm donating my cards to Cards for Kindness now. The organization that I donated to previously didn't use thank you cards. And so I had all these things I'd made that said thank you, and I had nothing to do with them. It's not that I never send thank you cards, but I just didn't have any reason to make thank you cards in bulk. So I've got those. And I thought I'd show you 2 things. One, this was the first. Here's the other big advantage to this is, see, that fits right in there. This is an A2 card, so when you're trying to line something up, you can actually lay it right up against here and work with that. But it gives you an idea of what kind of sizes will work as far as embellishments and prints. Okay, so this one is pretty much the way she did it. She had her an embellishment down here, and she had a sentiment here. And I've been doing my sentiments on circles, so I have a lot of them. And so this worked really well for me. And so I did a group of them that way, and I put sometimes the circles up here. And then I did one with black around the edges, which is probably, we'll have to see what we decide as we're cutting this, and I see how many pieces I can get out of this green, because I think I maybe have 1 or 2 sheets of it left. Okay, and then I got done and I used all of the little ones that I had, and I had just this one big, I tried this one big one to put out in the middle like that, and I think that looks pretty good. So a lot of what we do will probably end up looking like this. Okay. All right, so let's do some cutting. I've got, as I always do, I've got all my stuff out. So I needed the 2 pieces of 12 by 12. And as she mentioned in her video, the first thing you have to, you don't want that to end up on the floor. Okay, so the first thing you have to take a look at is always when you're cutting with a cutting template like this, look for where the line runs all the way down to the end. Okay, you wouldn't want to try to cut across this way first because then you'll miss these. Okay. And then the other thing is, look at how these pieces fit in case you have a directional pattern, which I do in here. So also, I don't want the squares out of this because because this is directional. So I want my squares out of this, and I'm hoping I can remember how I figured that out when I did the other one. So we'll just come along, and you can just come along with me and we'll see how it goes. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take the 12 by 12 directional paper, and I'm going to cut a piece that's 4, and then I'm going to cut a second piece that's 4. Okay, so now if you were gonna, if you're working with paper and you're gonna do these squares, which are these come from that cut an angle. Okay, this is where you would cut the 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to cut this as a 4, and as I've mentioned several times, a lot of times on a 12 by 12, it's just off a scooch. Okay, now I'm going to turn these, and I'm going to cut the 5 1/4, and I'll get 2. And then if you want to put a decoration or an embellishment on the inside of the card, a piece this size works. Or if you wanted to put this across the front of the card, a piece this size would work. Okay, so we have 2 5 1/4, 5 1/4, 5 1/4, and 5 1/4. Okay, so that's 6. Okay, so we're just going to set those over here because she came up with 8. So let's see how I do. Okay, so then this is what I want to use for these so that they will go here. Like I did on the other cards. I really like the way that looks. So I'm looking at a 275. And I'm gonna, I can't remember how many of these I got. So let's do these first. 1, they need to be squares, 275. 275, it's 3. 275. Okay, that's 4. All right, I've already got 6 of these. So I'm going to cut another strip of 275. Six, 7, 8. Okay. I'm setting these in a stack over here out of the way. Now, I have an option. I could cut this at a 4 by 5 1/4 and get 2 more to make 8. Or I have a couple of pieces of this in a 6 by 6. So I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4, and that way these cards are all going to be the same. And then I have this piece to set aside for my scraps. So that's 7. So I'm going to cut another one. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, why do you have some 6 by 6 when the rest of them are 12 by 12? The person I bought a friend's Stampin' Up! Stash, bought a big bunch of it, and she always took her 12 by 12 paper and cut it into 6 by 6 because she made cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be 8. And they're sticking together, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I have 8 of these, and I have 8 of these. Okay, and I'm just going to set this over here out of the way for right now. Okay, so I'm going to do, my option here now is, do I want these on black or do I want them on green? Or do I want some of each? Maybe some of each. Okay, for what I do, I like the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I cut the 5 3/8 first. And then cut this at 5 3/8. And so this gives me that layer that you see in the background here. Okay, and this is 4 1/8. And this is 4 1/8. So that's 2. And see, I get 4 of these out of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And all of this color cardstock is 65 pound. And I don't know where I got it. It's probably Recollections. Okay, so that's 4 like this. How big is this? This is 5. So the mats I'm going to need for here are 3 by 3s. So I'm going to cut this spare piece that I had. My scrap box is to my right here. This is 1, 2, and I'm going to pause the video while I check my green cardstock stash. Okay, it looks like we're going to do them in green because I've got a bunch. I have more than I thought I did. Which is something that I, normally we would talk about being what do you do ahead of time. And one of the things you really, sometimes it's more helpful going into, this is mass making. Okay, so going into mass making like this, it's really helpful if you like review what you've got. I know it would not be the first time that one of us found ourselves in a position where we had like cut everything to make it a certain way, and only to find out that we needed one more piece. And then what do we do? Do you know what we do? Yeah, then we dig through our scraps, right? We frantically dig through our scraps, trying to find just a couple of pieces, just a little bitty bit that we could use. Okay, so there's 8 of that. So I have 8 of the backgrounds. I have 8 of those squares. I have 2 of these. So let's do, let's see, she lays them landscape and cuts them in 3s. Does she? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, and then what she cuts across the bottom in this is this little half thing that goes here, which I'm not going to do. Okay. 2. And I will show you what we're going to do with some of these pieces of green that are just a little bit off. 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder how she's getting 3 and I'm only getting 2. Oh, that's because, yeah, I see what I did. I laid one of my 3-inch strips aside. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, all right, now 8 of those. We're going to take these strips like this. I'm going to lay that aside. I'm going to take these back out. This is the same color. All right, the thank yous are 1 3/4, which means we need 2-inch circles. Okay. So there's 1. 2. This can work. Yeah, let's try it. See, I'm lining it right up where I can see it. Let's see if it, yes, it works. 3. It's right at the edge. 4. 5. 6. This is kind of tedious, I'm sorry. 7 and 8. Okay, we have 8 of these. All right, so now we have everything we need, okay? I'm going to put the black back here in my, I keep this over here at the side because this is something that I use so often. So I just keep them out. I've been doing a lot of card making lately. Okay, so let's start gluing. I'm not going to make you watch me glue all of these, but I want to show you. Okay, so the first time I did this, I cut this, and then I cut this, and then I fiddled around trying to get everything lined out. And so I watched in a couple of the videos, and most of the people did it this way. Oh, I guess I showed you, didn't I, that there were on the other side of that yellow, there were these poodles, and they're spaced out and such a size that I would never have used them. Okay, so, all right, and so in the process, this goes on this gets cut from the right to left, so that then it flips around. So let's cut one. Okay. That's my air conditioner in the background. We're not under the heat dome right now. This has been some of the weirdest weather we've had. And we were under terribly, terribly hot weather with no rain. And now, like, I had to put on long sleeves this morning. It was like 65, which was actually warmer than it had been a couple of mornings ago when it was in the low upper 50s. In August, which is just unheard of here. So we are still calling this fake fall because it's not fall. Okay, it's not time for fall yet, but we've been under a drought and the leaves are turning. Okay, so on my cutter there is the little ridge thing. It's not a ridge, it's a divot, and that's where the blade goes. And so in order to do this, you put one of the points here and one of the points right there. Okay, now the other thing is, especially for this one, I have to really press down to hold this down, because otherwise it starts to get away from me and then you have a mess. Okay, so see, this is a little bit off down here, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, and then what I was doing next is, since this is directional, you want to make sure your flowers are right side up. Okay, and then I put this here, and you just put the point right in, scooch it right into that corner. Okay, and then you can do the same here. And because this is off a little, I mean, I could take and cut that down now, which I don't want to do that because I tried doing that a few minutes ago and it didn't work very well. It works a little better if you've got it down and then I cut it on my guillotine. See that just jump out of my hand, that glue? Okay, and I want to make sure I'm in frame. I just set that point right up in the corner and press this down. Okay, and then this one, I'm gonna kind of offset it a little bit, and then I can cut the edge off. Okay, and then so on here, she's got this down here, which for everything I did, that kind of worked. All right, so I'm gonna put the point there, and that here. Okay, now see that? It's sticking out. All right, so I take my guillotine, and even my guillotine, it's getting to where it's like almost too much. So I line this edge right up against that, hold it firm, and take it down. Okay, and it sticks because it's got glue. You have to be careful so you don't cut yourself. Okay, so then I do these on my silhouette. It's in a design program. It's very simple. You just set up a circle that's 1 3/4, and then you set up the text, and make sure it fits inside the circle. It's a very simple process. Okay, and then that's a 2-inch circle there. And notice I'm putting this all together on the top before I put it on the back mat. Okay, and then I just center that there. All right. And that is sticking out a little bit on that side. Let's see how that works. And this is why I use wet glue, because I can slide this around until I get it right where I want it. Okay, and that's off a little bit at the bottom, but I can live with it. Can I? No. Okay. That's off a little bit on this side, so I'm going to trim this side. I'm not being picky just because you're here. All right, so that measures right at 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to slide it just a little bit inside and do what's called a shortcut. Okay, and see if that goes on a little bit better. It feels like it's time to refill the glue bottle. This is Barely Arts glue, by the way. That's my go-to brand. I've tried some of the others and they just didn't work as well for me. Okay, now, yeah, see, that's a little better. I've got a little bit more of a border. Okay, so what I will do before I will take these and shave just a little bit of edging off of them. All right. And then I take my A2 card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I made it by taking a 8 1/2 by 11, 110-pound index weight cardstock and cutting it at 5 1/2 so that I get 2 card bases. There are a couple of different ways to do this. I just fold and eyeball and then use my bone folder to make sure my edge is crisp. Okay, and then this goes on here. I will link Crafty Owl. I will link this below. I know that most of the people who end up watching this video already know about her. It's kind of hard to be out there making cards for any length of time and not know about her. Okay. All right, so that's how that one looks. And then the other thing we do is this is the stamp that my granddaughter designed and gifted me. And I put this on the back of all my cards. It says Random Acts of Kindness Studios. I'm not a studio. I have a studio because I have a dedicated space. But I'm not a business. I'm just a person who obsessively makes cards and likes to be nice. Okay, so that's what the cards will look like. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and glue the rest of this together. And I may check back in when I get ready to do the last one. Okay, I'm partially through here, and I may end up pausing the video again, but I wanted to show you, this is what goes wrong when the blade slips, okay? And in order to make another one of these, I would have had to have cut another piece of the same color cardstock, and I didn't have it. I didn't want to cut a whole piece of 8 1/2 by 11. So what I did was I've made the decision to do this one, to do one of them in black And since I have a whole bunch of black over here, and then I have the black circles over here, it really won't be that much of a disruption, and I already know it looks pretty much okay with that. All right, so I'm going to cut this one using my guillotine, and you can't see with the guillotine quite as well, but I lay the points right against the edge of the bottom blade, and again, you have to really hold it down. Okay, and then that works. All right, so let's go ahead and put the black one together. I kind of trimmed the edge. All right. The glue is starting to, this happens when the bottle is getting, or to me, when the bottle is getting low and the glue just, you know, wants to be difficult. Okay, and so again, we lay this right up against the corner. If you're stuck for background mats, honestly, black works really well. And the other thing is, I'll show you here in a second, you really don't have to put a mat behind this. And then we lay the points right down in the corner. And I'll show you what it looks like without. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I just know I like a mat in the background. It's something I've kind of gotten in the habit of. I remember seeing it a lot with Christy Marcotte. Okay, and then you make sure your flowers are right side up. Okay, and so you just lay this here like this, and that doesn't look bad. Okay. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't show a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 mat behind hers, though it is something you see. All right, so then I slide this, I kind of lay just the corner edge, and I push that over, and it just kind of lays in place, and that's not the way I want it. Try it again. I don't know whether the black pieces I've cut are off just a little bit, or if it's just me and I had a good lining up day. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut these. I'll be back. Okay, I did cut them down. I don't know whether it may have to do with putting these pieces on there, but that doesn't look like it. And I remeasured this black one, and it's the right size. Okay. I donate all of my cards to Cards for Kindness is the name I know the organization by, and they act as a hub of sorts, and they send the cards we donate to them all over the place. It's wonderful, and I find it. I have found it to be really fun. I got, not that that's the reason I do it, but I got a really nice thank you note from them that like in the mail, which I really kind of just as soon they keep the money to. It was nice to get a card, but I always get a thank you, and I looked at them in a lot of detail to see like where they were sending their cards, and there's all kinds of organizations, military organizations, hospitals, children's organizations. They've got a great newsletter that you get from them, which gives you an idea of what they're looking for, and what they need to meet the demand of the different groups that they work with, which is always helpful. If you are in a position where you can donate locally, you know, I think that works well. I'm not, and I think that having an organization like this, I have come to peace with the cost of the postage, which is why the boxes I send are big and full. They do ask that you sort your cards, so I kind of take the brown wrapping paper that comes with stuff, and I make these little strips, and I put the little bundles together and wrap them around them and tape them, and that works really well. Being able to donate the cards does two things. It makes me feel better about like doing massive amounts of card making, much more than what I have friends and family for. It helps me use up the massive amounts of paper that I bought. When I first retired, my my hobby was buying craft supplies, and I almost never buy patterned paper anymore because I have so much. I do have to replenish my card stock from time to time, so I just watch for the different sales that are on. But you know, my YouTube channel, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it if you would do that. My objective with having a YouTube channel is to work with beginning card makers. So if there's something that happened in the video and you didn't understand it, or you're trying to figure it out, you know, please just leave a comment, because I do go back in and look at the comments, so that I'll put those on card bases after we're done here. Okay, so I have 5 more of these to do. That's a lot for you to sit and watch me do. I'll finish up here in a second. But cards make a difference. They give us the opportunity to get creative. Some of the cards that I make, that I do videos on, are from card sketches, and they're really simple. I mean, this is going to be, you're going to find this in the card sketch playlist. And then there's also a playlist of like really basic card making instructions, like how to cut the cardstock, and how to pick out cardstock, and how to fold the cardstock, and how to figure out where to cut, and how to work with strips, and all, you know, all the really basic stuff that we learn. And then all card makers that I've met, they expand out from that, and you start working with dies, and you start working with embossing, and you start working with inks and stencils, and every step has a cost. But you can do basic card making with very few, very simple supplies. And I think that is part of what makes it so wonderful. Okay. Okay, I've still got a few more to make. Let me go ahead and pause this, and I'll be back before you know it. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch here. I think when I start putting these onto the card bases, I may try some double-sided adhesive. The glue is acting up. My most common mistake in my videos is calling that an ink bottle instead of a glue bottle. If you're ever watching and you hear me do that, I don't mean it. It's glue, it's not ink. And then the other thing I do is I have a tendency to, from time to time, to say, and this 2-inch square when it's a circle. I don't know what that's about either, but it does seem to happen. I do not edit my videos. You get what I have done. I'm going to try this one last time, and if it doesn't help, then I guess I'll what I'll do after this is I'll wash the, I have to take this in and wash the nozzle. I do have dedicated space in a building separate from the house, and I am very, very, very fortunate to have that. I know that a lot of people are working on their kitchen table and dining room table and having to clean it up. And of course I share this area with my husband's workshop, but that's okay. All right. And then, oh, I was talking about subscribing to my channel. First of all, it doesn't cost anything. There are people out there who have channel memberships and all of that, and I don't. And have no intention of getting to that point. So if you subscribe, what that does for the video is the more subscribers I have, the more time you spend actually watching the video, clicking on the like button, leaving a comment, those kinds of things seem to work with what they call the algorithm, which I don't know that much about because that's a math thing and I don't do math. Okay, this is double-sided adhesive. We're going to try one and see how it works. And the thing about double-sided adhesive is all that wiggle room thing you saw me doing earlier does not exist. All right, so you tilt it all the way up and then bring it down. A couple reasons I don't do this. One, the absence of wiggle room. Two, the rolls I buy like that don't last long, and you can go through a lot of that in a short period of time. Advantages to it, it holds well. And as I've seen some people, like if they're mask making, they would go through and like put this on the back of all of them. I don't work like that typically either. Okay. And see if that's off a little bit. There's nothing I can do. Well, there is. I mean, I can pull it off of there and it basically tears up the base, and you have to cut a lot of things apart, and because I've done it. Ask me how I know that. Okay, but it is easier to do than when the glue is acting up. So anyway, listening to as much of the video as you have time to is helpful. But it does, when someone is looking for beginning card making, which I tag my videos as, they are more likely to find them. And being able to have like the real basic stuff makes it a lot more fun when you get to the point that, you know, you want to start die cutting cats with 20 pieces. Okay, see that one kind of shifted just a little, and there's nothing I can do. Okay. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How do we end up with 9? I am not sure. Okay, because I thought I had 8, but it doesn't matter. However many I have is the way it works. All right. And remember, if you check in the description below, you're going to find the link to Call Me Crafty Al. And I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. It would help me out. All right. Thank you, and keep coming back.